Fellas, week 5 in the books. Very high scoring week across the league. Our lowest score this week was 110, which I feel like is a record. It was narrow between Steele and Ford, 110, 114. Gillum, once again, the highest score, 2 out of 5 weeks, 5-0. Never apologized for first place. Was the highest score this week, even with his QB getting 8 points. Deshaun Watson, which was still a crazy play, but still got the win. Didn't matter. We're gonna get into all the matchups. We'll get into the recap. I'll get into the standings. We're gonna hit it all. We're gonna hit all of it. But first, let's hear from our winner of the week, as we always do. Gillum, you're the best again. What do you got to say?
Let's take a moment. Let's watch Deshaun twerk a little bit. Honored to be the first time repeat winner of the week. I know you guys probably don't want to see my face. I'm sensing a lot of slander and insultiness in the chat. But let's just go ahead and watch some highlights. Ended up topping out at 155, beat out Sam by about 4 points. And I just want to shout out MVP. Good football right here. Such a good drive for the Browns. And that's what did it right there. A lot of slander going on, and I just was happy to say that I came away with a win with Deshaun Watson as my starting quarterback. And then there's a lot better options in the waivers. You look at all the free agents. Kirk put up 36. Daniel Jones everybody put up in the 20s, but scraped away a win. Thankfully, I had Ja'Marr Chase on my squad. He put up 41. That was the big winner for me right there. We had JSN score a tutty. The Bears defense came in clutch, and Harrison Butker outscored Brandon Aubrey for what was the best matchup in the league this week between me and poor Sam. Just want to remind everybody that while I do have the best offense, I also have the best defense. I understand a lot of people are hating that my schedule has been cake, and I'm not saying that it hasn't been. But Sam was 8-1 across the board this week, second leader in points. We got a tough matchup against Najee Nation next week, so we'll let the matchups talk. Most points scored too, so I don't want to hear from y'all anymore. Good win overall. Good luck to Najee next week.
Beautifully said. And I love the editing. The fact that you were able to get a win with Deshaun as your QB is telling to how good the rest of your team is. Not only you were able to get a win, but you were the highest scorer in the league. So 155 points, that'll do it. We had some people that were close. Sam being the next closest with 151. But yes, you already dived into your matchup, but we're sure to get into it again. I tried to reach Steele for comment multiple times. I had multiple people try and reach out. This is what he had to say. And that was that. I think we all wanted to hear from Steele. We all want to see his beautiful face. So hopefully he'll send a video in after I send this. It only takes 30 seconds, maybe a minute. You don't have to do any fancy editing or anything. But yep, Steele, loser of the week, and loser of the chat, and loser of our hearts by not doing the thing required of him. Standings. So we got Gillum sitting at top, 5-0, followed by Chase in second at 4-1. Then we have me and Derek both at 3-2 and third and fourth respectively. And then we have 4 teams at 2-3, and Caleb, Sam, Ben, Steele, and then rounding out the bottom, we got Ford and Rory in Najee Nation. And Steele actually is last in points scored on the year, followed by Ben. So little out of order, and then we get into Rory, and then it kind of balances itself out. Chase is in second, but he's only fourth in scoring. Caleb is fifth. He's third, which I feel like has been pretty par for the course for Caleb in this league. And Derek sits at fourth place, but he's sixth in scoring. So it's really all over the place. The only person I know who was actually in the right position, candidly, is Gillum, because he's first in the league in scoring and he's in first place. Yes, he does have the least amount of points scored by 90, but he also has the most points. So who are we to hate? He already touched on his matchup. Yeah, 155 to 151. Heartbreaker for Sam. I thought Dak was going to be the MVP. Definitely disappointing. If CD does a little better, Sam wins this game. Not going to cut it. Jaden Reed, obviously, he's been a beast with Jordan Love in, but didn't have a great game. Drake London balled out. Kareem Hunt was a great pickup. Jerome Ford was pretty mid. And then I think Brandon Aubrey, I didn't stay up to watch that game, candidly, because it didn't end until like 1 in the morning. I think he had a kick blocked. So if he makes the kick, that's the swing right there. So tough one for Sam. Sam sitting at 2-3, which is candidly not where you want to be to start the year. You want to be above 500 for sure. Gillum first place, 5-0, remains undefeated. Our next matchup, we have Caleb and Chase. Chase won by a score of 142 to 125. 17-point win, very solid, very solid. I don't know if there's anything that Caleb could have done to squeak this one out. Obviously, he left Kyle Pitts on the bench in favor of Tucker Kraft, so that ended up being a good play on his part. But even if he plugs him in for one of his flexes, it doesn't matter. Akin getting hurt and only scoring 2 points is really what sealed it for him. Jaden Daniels with 20, Kenneth Walker with 15, Scary Terry with 13, Rashid Shaheed 18, Tucker Kraft was his leading scorer with 24, and then obviously Jake Moody getting hurt. If your kicker gets hurt, you're just in for not a good time. So tough one for Caleb. He's 2-3 in fifth place. Chase gets another win. He's sitting at 4-1. His only loss, I think, was when I don't even remember if he was loser of the week. Both my leagues were blending together. I apologize. I made another video earlier for a separate league. But Chase led in scoring by Mike Evans with 23. Very solid across the board. His kicker had 6. Defense had 7. Everyone else was above 13. Tyreek Hill 12.9. Brock only with 13. It's pretty disappointing for sure. But it didn't matter. He had Darnold on the bench, and that was the right play, 13. You'll take 13 over 4. Ramondre, obviously with 19, outperformed after it was said he was going to be benched. But obviously Mike Evans had a great game. Derrick Henry had a solid game. And Diggs is definitely in for a higher workload now that Nico is injured. Give me 1 second. So apologies. My lovely fiance, Lexi, wanted to come and say hi. I wanted to make sure that nothing was on fire. She requested that I give a shout out to both of our dogs, Motley and Kratos. So, shout out Motley and Kratos. You guys have both seen them, but we're not here to talk about my dogs and how awesome they are. We're here to talk about some fantasy football. So, let me get back into fantasy football. Chase 4-1, second place. That was our second matchup. Derek taking down Steele, 136 to 110. Derek, really good bounce back game. Garrett Wilson with 29, Brian Thomas with 23 in his flex. Amari's been pretty disappointing, but he gets the win even without Saquon and Malik Neighbors, who are definitely his 2 best players so far this year. Kyler had a big bounce back game after having 9 the week before. With 24, he had the 50-yard touchdown. Very solid across the board for Derek. 136 is probably going to get you a win most weeks, but candidly, I think that was bottom 5 in scoring this week. We really had a really high-scoring week across the league. I think he was 5th in scoring. So he gets the win, gets a little lucky with the matchup, but Steele takes another loss. He's sitting at 2-3. Lamar had 33 of his 110. And then JJ, Colby Parkinson, Christian Kirk all had double digits. Chase McLaughlin, his kicker, had 16. Rest of his team did not break double digits. Aaron Jones got hurt, 6 points. Jordan Mason, a little disappointing with 8. Obviously, Olave, that was brutal. Watching that, only 3 points on Monday Night Football. And Jerry Jeudy sucks. I don't know why he played Jerry Jeudy. But that was his decision and not mine. So, yep, Steele, 2-3, 8th place. Derek, 3-2, 4th place. Our fourth matchup was Ben taking down Ford. Ben, 132 to Ford, 114. Ben gets a much-needed win. I think both these teams really needed a win. Give me 1 second. Apologies again. My, once again, lovely fiance wanted to let me know that she remembered my nickname for Chris Olave last year, which was Breadsticks, because we called him Olive Garden. She really wanted to tell me that. So, I apologize for the cuts. If I cut again, it's because Lexi has another joke that she wants to tell me. So, again, apologies for the interruptions on the video this week. Ben and Ford, like I said, both of these teams really needed a win. Ford, the dumpster fire, started off one of the highest scorers, one of the hottest teams, has been on a little downward trend. Joe Mixon, I think, only played week 1. He played all of week 1, half of week 2. Hasn't been back since then. Tough one. 114. Fine week. Not enough to get it done on such a high-scoring week. Breece Hall, you got to be concerned about. George Pickens has not been great. Godwin. Disappointing from him. Obviously, in Njoku, you get him back, you're excited, and then it's better to play Pat Freiermuth. So, not good. But Ben gets the win. 132 points. Led by T. Higgins and George Kittle. Broncos defense held it down for him, 15 points. 11 from Xavier Worthy, 10 from Bijan, who's been a disappointment. Chuba's been very solid. He's been a very solid pickup for Ben. Candidly, he left a lot of points on his bench. Ben is rostering 3 quarterbacks in Baker, Joe Burrow, and C.J. Stroud, and played the worst option out of the 3. Joe Burrow had 33, Baker had 23, C.J. Stroud, who we started at 15. So interesting to see what he does there. Rashad White's been pretty disappointing this whole year. So Ben gets the win. He's 2-3 in 7th place. Ford drops to 1-4. One of 2 1-4 teams, but he has the points tiebreaker for Rory, which brings us to our next matchup, which is me versus Rory. 8-point win for me. This one was a nail biter, though. I'll be honest. I don't know if any of you guys watched the Monday night game. Mahomes hit Juju in the chest for a touchdown, and he bobbled it, and then the big man picked it. That was a 6-point swing right there. That was basically the game. Very close game. Rory puts up 138. Wasn't enough to get a win. He's sitting at 1-4. He's definitely nervous about last place for sure. Candidly, I don't think my team's very good anymore. You lose Cooper Kupp. You lose Rashee Rice. I don't know what to do about my tight ends. I really needed to get that win with Amon-Ra and David Montgomery on bye, and we got it. But man, that was a tough one. Geno with 22 at the end. He really locked in at the end against the Giants there. He had 8 the whole game, and then he just got a bunch of points at the very end. Dontavian Wicks was incredibly disappointing. That guy has no hands at all. Jawan Jennings, that was pretty disappointing too. 2 points. I'm pretty sure I dropped him. Rory, not only is he 1-4, but he loses Nico Collins for at least 4 weeks. So he finally gets A.J. Brown back, and now he's down Nico Collins. Lucky for him, Darnell Mooney has been great. As I said, Rory taunted me on Thursday, and then he ended up losing. So that's a tough one for him for sure. Marvin Harrison Jr., that disappoints with 5 points. I think, candidly, I don't think I know. If Rory doesn't make that trade with Steele, J.K. Dobbins was on bye this week, so it didn't matter. He has J.J. over Marvin Harrison, who had 11 more points. Rory gets the win this week. So, thank you for trading him, Justin Jefferson, Rory. I personally appreciate that a lot. I really needed the win this week because I don't have a lot of faith in my team moving forward. Trey Sermon was huge for me off the waivers. DJ Moore obviously finally got it going. And then Jake Ferguson had a solid game, but I should have played Brock Bowers over him. I was saved by my defense and kicker for the first time in a couple weeks. I've been getting 2-3 points combined. I got 32 out of them this week. So that was great. Young Wei found the rhythm, and the Vikings defense is disgusting. So I'm 3-2. I'm in 3rd place. The highest scorer out of the 3-2 teams. Rory drops to 1-4. Lowest scorer of the respective teams. Okay. Where are we? Let me get the prediction tracker pulled up. So last week I went 3-2. I got the Chase Caleb, the Ben Ford, and the me Rory game right. Gillum, I got your game wrong. Derek, I got your game wrong. Brings me to 12-13 on the season, which is not fantastic, but we'll take you. We want to get back to 500 for sure. Man, let's get into these first matchups, huh? First one we got is Caleb and Steele. Both these teams are 2-3. Caleb sitting at 5th. Steele sitting in 8th. Let me refresh the page. Caleb is about a 23-point favorite, so he's got 100. He's projected for 142. Steele's projected for 119, which is not good. I want to make sure his lineup's set, and it is. He has Justin Jefferson on bye. He's got Colby Parkinson on bye. Obviously, CMC's been hurt. Aaron Jones on bye and also injured. So Steele's down a lot. Down a lot of fellas this week, but he gets Tank Dell, who should, in theory, get a boost with Nico Collins hitting the RER. Chris Olave, in theory, should get a boost with Derek Carr getting hurt. That's always good for Olave to not have Derek Carr back there. Lamar's the best QB in fantasy football right now, him and Jaden Williams, and he's got Rome Odunze and Christian Kirk rounding out his flexes. Not great, I would say. Caleb, 2 and 3. Jaden Daniels, Jahmyr Gibbs, Kenneth Walker, Scary Terry, Rashid Shaheed, who I don't think practiced today. Tucker Kraft looked great last week. Jonathan Taylor didn't practice today. Doubt that he plays. Cortland Sutton. I don't know. Yeah, I guess you would plug Jalen Tolbert or Josh Downs in if Jonathan Taylor's ruled out. But I mean, he's a 25-point favorite. And Steele honestly upset me by not sending in the video. So I'm going to pick Caleb. Steele, be a sport next time. Send in the video. Okay, this is a great matchup. 3 and 2 and 2 and 3 team, but it's a great matchup. Both projected for 141. We got Derek and Ben. So Ben's team, I feel like every year I'm saying, oh, I like Ben's team, and then every year, like, he gets screwed somehow. Just with matchups, people getting hurt. But again, the Joe Burrow T. Higgins stack starting to take shape. It looks like he has Burrow in. Stroud's not getting the start. Baker's not getting the start. So he's going with Burrow this week. Bijan's been disappointing. He's got to figure it out against Carolina. If he doesn't go off against Carolina, he might be cooked from a fantasy perspective. Chuba, Atlanta's run defense is tough. Deontay, meh. George Kittle's very good. Rashad's not been great. Debo has been very meh, but I think he always balls out against the Seahawks. And then he's going Texans against the Patriots, which is honestly a good call. Derek. Kyler, he gets Saquon back. Garrett Wilson had 22 targets last week, but I still think the Jets suck. He has DK on Thursday going against San Francisco. His tight end stinks, man. His tight end is Tyler Conklin this week. He really needs a tight end, for sure. Take Jake Ferguson or Brock Bowers from me, Derek. Like, you need a tight end. Obviously, Malik Mader's been in practice today, but he's hoping he gets him back, and Brian Thomas is looking solid. Bill's defense against the Jets is good, and then he has the Jets kicker. So this is going to be a good matchup. I think both of these teams are solid. Derek, obviously 3 and 2 is solid. Ben should probably be 3 and 2 at least as well. I'm going to go with Derek here because Derek is coming off a win. Where is that? They're both coming off wins. They're both coming off wins. Sorry, my spreadsheet looked confusing for a second. Both these teams are good. I'm going to go with Derek just because Saquon's probably going to be awesome this week, and that's that. And Brian Thomas is good. Okay. Sam and Chase. Sam's about a 9-point favorite. He's got his Cowboys going against Detroit. Tony Pollard going against the Colts, whose run defense is not super good. Chase Brown, honestly, should be a pretty good play this week if Zach Moss misses. Drake London going against Carolina is awesome. Jaden Reed going against Arizona is good. Jamison Williams is pretty boom or bust. And then Eagles defense against Cleveland, that's a good play. Deshaun is atrocious. Then we got Chase, Brock, Derrick Henry, Brian Robinson, Mike Evans. This is the Marshawn Lattimore, Mike Evans game, so Mike Evans will likely get ejected this week and not finish the game. Just going to put that out there now. Goddard, Calvin Ridley, Ramondre. Yeah, I mean, I know Chase beat the brakes off of me, but I look at these two teams and I think that Sam should probably win this one. I'm going to put Sam just because I'm not going to try and overthicken. He's a 9-point favorite. I don't think Mike Evans has a good week this week. He never has a good week against the Saints, and I say that as a Mike Evans owner in a separate league. Derrick Henry should run all over the Commanders this week. Diggs should have a good week. I think this will be a high-scoring game, but I think Sam's going to take it. Okay. Najee Nation, last place, first place game. Najee Nation and the Illuminati. Gil has a lot of players on bye this week. Basically just Kyron. He's got his kicker on bye. Looks like he picked up another kicker, so he's rostering 2 kickers. But he doesn't really have that many decisions to make because everyone's on bye. He's projected for 129 points. He gets Devontae back. Zay Flowers is probably going to eat this week too. Washington's defense is really not good. JSN, he's been solid. Jalen Hurts, you hope he gets a couple tush pushes, right? But I don't think James Cook practiced today. I don't think Zach Moss practiced today. So, in theory, Chris is in trouble here if James Cook and Zach Moss both don't play. Rory, 1 and 4, projected for 130. Is he starting Najee? He's not starting Najee, and that's something that I personally love to see as someone who hates Najee Harris. He hopefully gets Evan Ingram back. It's looking like Darnell Mooney popped up on the injury report today. Definitely needs him so he doesn't have to play Najee. James Conner's solid. Swift has been solid. A.J. Brown, he gets back, which I know he's excited about. So I think if he has Nico this week, no question I'm taking Rory, but I think candidly a couple of Gilliam's players, I never know how to say your last name, bro. A couple of Chris's players are not going to play this week, and I will be taking Rory for that reason. So I think Rory gets the upset here. Hands Chris his first loss. Me and Ford, I'm projected for 131. Ford's projected for 128, so I'm about a 3-point favorite. Like I said, I don't love my team right now. Kamara and Amon-Ra are like, I'm like, love you guys. David Montgomery too. I'm starting 2 tight ends this week because I don't know what else to do. I don't want to bench Jake Ferguson, and I don't want to bench Brock Bowers. So they're both going in. If Trey Sermon is a starter again, I'll probably plug him in for probably Jake Ferguson, but I don't know. We picked up the Colts defense because they're playing Tennessee, and Will Levis is bound to do something hilarious. We got Bucky Irving. I don't really want to start Geno against San Francisco on Thursday, so I tried to get Kirk Cousins, but Rory stole him, and he's not even starting him, which is really upsetting to me. I'm basically hoping for an Amon-Ra touchdown. That would be sick. That's like what Sam's doing, I'm doing with the Lions. So I got Jared Goff, Amon-Ra, and David Montgomery. So we're really rooting for the Lions hard this weekend, guys. Ford. Starting Rico Dowdle with Joe Mixon not playing again. Devin Singletary looked like he picked up an injury, which he did last week. And Njoku didn't practice today. Godwin's probably going to have a really good game because Mike Evans is going to get ejected, and it's just going to be a whole thing. Brandon Ayuk obviously had a very good game last week. Maybe he's finally finding himself, which would not be good for me. Breece Hall has not been good. Josh Allen, not been good against good teams. So this is a toss-up. I think, honestly, this matchup, both of us are pretty mid right now. I really need the win because I don't want to start losing and be at risk of making 1,000 threes, and I think that could happen. Candidly, I don't think my team is very good. But I will give myself blind faith because I don't want to lose to someone who's 1-4. But I don't feel good about that pick, candidly. And that's what I got for you. Let's see if Steele texted. I have my phone on D&D while I record this. No, he did not. He did not. Unfortunate, upsetting. Everyone's upset. We're all mad at Steele, as is tradition. But yeah, I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate the chat in general. And I appreciate hooping with Rory. We had a fun game tonight. Tough loss, 1-point loss, but he came in as a ringer for me. But he was hitting down those threes, baby. That's my guy. So I appreciate all y'all watching, and I am sure I will talk to you all throughout the week. Yes, sir.